Okay. In today's class, we will try to have a practice problem or solve a practice problem on income from salary. Then we will try to concentrate on the corporate social responsibility expenditure or CSR expenses made by the companies or the enterprises to get the tax rebate from their tax liability, and how they do this kind of rebate or how they enjoy this kind of rebate. Then we'll try to see the mechanism of investment tax allowance. I tried to give you some hint in previous sessions that it is possible to reduce the tax liability by having some investment in selected items or by making some expenditures. Then in second half of our today's session, we will try to learn how the income from interest on securities can be computed for estimating the tax liability. So in this problem, what is in front of you right now, this is one of the practice problem I have taken from the Bangladesh income tax text, which I referred as a reference text. So first of all, you see that this person, our associate name is Mr. Anil Ambani. Then we have to write our associate name. I will try to show you how can we solve for this kind of problem in your exam, and also we will try to check that how we need to write it for tax purpose. So in terms of exam, you can start in this way, that you need to write the SSC name first. SSC is Mr. Anil Ambani. Mr. Anil Ambani. Then you need to write that of which income year you are computing the taxable income, and you also need to specify of which assessment year you are computing taxes. So if I write the income year first, let's look at the problem again. On June 2019, Mr. Anil Ambani's basic salary falls on 12,000. In the scale of this, I will explain it later. Let's identify the income year first. For the assessment year 2019-20, you need to compute the taxable income and the tax liability. So the assessment year is 2019-20, and you know very well that assessment year is the year followed by the income year. So income year precedes the assessment year. So in that case, you can write income year is 2018-19, and for assessment year, you can write 2019-20. So let's try to concentrate on that what has been said here about Mr. Anil Ambani. I take the, okay. So Mr. Anil Ambani's basic salary falls on 12,000. Basic salary is 12,000 in the scale of 10,000 dash 1,000 into 4, 14,000. So I think you are not familiar. It may be such that some of you are familiar with this kind of a scale. It is known as salary scale. So assuming that it is not clear or it is not familiar to many of you, let's try to understand it. What does it mean? It is essential not only for solving this problem, but also for understanding what kind of salary your employer will provide you when you will try to compare that which job opportunity you will pick. So you need to understand the employment contract very well. So what does it mean? It means that when Mr. Anil Ambani will join this particular office, his starting will be 10,000 basic, his starting basic salary. His starting basic salary will be 10,000. Then there will be increment from this basic salary. So what do we mean by increment? That means there will be an amount will be added on top of the existing amount. So increment can be of a specific number of times. And so it has been said that there will be 4 increments in this scale, 10,000 scale, there will be 4 increments. Next question is how much worth one increment is. So one increment worth is 1,000. That means if there is one increment after a certain period, it will be mentioned or it will be given that when the increment will be made. For example, an additional information is given which gives you the hint that when increment occurs. It is said that every year on 1st April, every year on 1st April, from where I am saying that every year, because it is mentioned that his date of yearly increment. That's why from this clause, I'm mentioning that every year. So every year on 1st April, he will be entitled to receive one increment. So if the basic in June 2019 is 12,000, which is after April 2019, is it? This June 2019 is absolutely after April 2019.
Yes, sir.
And we can also say this is also after April 2018. So how Mr. Anil Ambani's basic has become 12,000 now, where his scale begins with 10,000? The answer is that on this date, on June 2019, Mr. Anil Ambani's basic salary has become 12,000 because he has received 2 increments in this 2 date. That's why 10,000, which was starting, has now become 12,000. So you can expect that if Mr. Anil Ambani stays in this position, stays in this grade, you can expect that if Mr. Ambani continues with this position, he will get another increment in April 2020, he will get another increment in April 2021. So this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, this is number 4. So you can ask me that on April 2020, what will happen? The answer is that if Mr. Ambani continues his position in this the current position, if there is no promotion from his current position, his basic salary will remain fixed at this number, 14,000. So how 14,000 has been calculated here? It is 10,000 plus each increment worth multiplied by number of increments. Have you got it? That how increment works and how salary scale goes up?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you need to understand it very well. So after having a number of practice problem, you will get a good idea if you can start from this concept. So first of all, we need to calculate the basic salary of Mr. Anil Ambani, which is the first information given. So if I go to my whiteboard and I write basic salary of Mr. Anil Ambani in this way, let's try to understand. Right now we have income year from 2018-19, which is income year starts from if other information is not given, we can assume that it starts from July 1 in a particular year and it ends on June 30 of the following year. So as there is no other information given that when he joined the job or when he left the job, or I mean, we have no additional information given. So we can assume that for whole income year, Mr. Anil Ambani was staying in this position. But remember, as it is mentioned that on June on June 29, June 2019, Mr. Anil Ambani's basic salary was 12,000. So on June 30, Anil Ambani's June 30, 2019, Anil Ambani's basic scale was how much? 14,000. Now, if the date of increment is April 1 of every year, can you tell me that what was his basic during this period, July 1, 2018 to March 31, 2019? Increment occurs every year in April 1. So can you tell me that the basic which has been given in our problem in the date of June 30, 2019, for sure it was not applicable before April 1, as the increment date is April 1. So what do you think, what was the basic salary for Mr. Ambani during this period? I mean, before this increment date?
11,000.
How much?
11,000.
Okay, I have got two options. Mute your mic so that you can listen to me clearly. Okay. I have got one option is 11,000. Another option is 13,000. Okay. First of all, okay. I probably have written this number wrong. On June 30, 2019.
So that would have been 12,000.
Yeah, it should be 12,000.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think in that case you would not pick this option. Is there anyone still now thinking that it will be a number other than 11,000?
No, sir. No
I think you have got why it is 11,000.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going for explaining it again. Okay. So if it is 11,000 during this period, how long this period was? This period. How long this period was? How long this period was in terms of months?
9 months.
9 months. So I'm multiplying this number by 9. And on April 1, as it is now increment date, we can expect that April, May, June, which are the left over 3 months during this income year. So we can write that the salary after this increment 12,000 was applicable for remaining 3 months in the income year. 12,000 will continue until the next increment, but for our income year period, how many months they are owed for getting the basic salary of 12,000? The answer is 3 months. Okay. So you have got it, how to calculate the basic salary. So I think you will not get it confused. If this problem is easy, I mean easy in terms of calculating by the integer number. But the thing is that if it is like that, the increment date instead of April 1, it is April 15. In that case, April 15 means from April, in the same problem, from April 1 to April 14, applicable basic salary would be 11,000. And from April 15 to April 30, basic salary applicable would be
12,000.
12,000. So in that case, you need to have some fractional number here, some decimal point based on the number of dates, number of days available in this period, number of days available in this period. I think you are not immature to calculate this. You are adequately mature that how this calculation will change when the increment date will be a number in between the first or last day of month. Okay, so you'll face such kind of problems, so you need to address in this way. It is not a big deal for you, so I'm not showing how it will change. I'm just giving you some hint that how the problem can be modified, or in your real case, the problem can be a little bit different. Okay. So and now the question is there any tax exemption in basic salary?
No, sir.
No, sir.
There is no tax exemption in basic salary. So you can write in this way that final column, the total taxable income from basic salary is this number. If you do this calculation, you will get a number like 135,000. Okay. So let's look at the second one. He received dearness allowance. He received dearness allowance of 10% of basic salary and medical dearness allowance of 10%. Okay. Now, so how can we write it? If I write dearness allowance, we have found that in dearness allowance also there is no tax exemption. It is fully taxable, but the thing is that it has been mentioned 10% of basic. So what should be the 10% of basic amount what we have already calculated? It will be 13,500. So we have got it. Then he also received medical allowance of taka 1,175 per month. So in that case, we need to write first how much he has received for medical allowance. Then we'll go for calculating that how much will be taxable and how much will be tax exempted. So if you multiply 1175 by 12, you will get a number like 14,100 in your calculator. Then we need to find out that how much will be tax exempted. Okay. So can anyone remind me what is the rule given in tax ordinance regarding the tax exemption of medical allowance? What is the rule for getting the tax exemption from medical allowance? I probably mentioned this in previous class.
So 10% of basic salary, sir.
10% of
Basic salary.
basic or
sir, yearly, sir. 1,20,000.
1,20,000.
which one is higher?
Lower, sir.
The lower one should be taken. Okay. So I'm not writing the things very clearly. I'm just writing it in short form so that we can save our time and space for time being in class. Okay. So 10% of basic is 13,500. We know it. And 120,000 is the absolute number. Between 13,500 and 120,000, we know very well that 13,500 will not be a higher number. It will be a lower number. So how much will be taxable?
600.
600. So if you don't understand, or if you have not got the learning of this tax exemption, you would pay tax on how much of medical allowance? Total amount. Have you got it? So the thing is that though the sky is foggy today, it is worthy to have concentration on how tax exemption is available from the allowances given. So it is applicable for each and every one of salaried person, except the person is provided salary from the government. For government staff, government salaried employees, all allowances are fully tax exempted, other than basic and festival. Okay. During the year, his actual amount of medical expense was Taka 3,000. Can anyone tell me where this information is irrelevant here or relevant here?
Sir, irrelevant because of the expense sector, sir.
Okay. Can anyone tell me in what kind of allowance this actual amount of expense is relevant information?
So concessional passage.
Right. Very good. In case of concessional passage, when it is in your employment contract, it is to be checked that how much the SSC spent actually, because the additional amount what he has not spent will become taxable. Okay. So he received 3 bonuses: Festival 2, Performance 1, each equivalent to 1 month's basic salary received in the month of August, January, and May, respectively. The thing is that usually 2 bonuses are common, 2 festival bonuses are common. One reason for which you need to love the job in corporate sector, that is the availability of your performance bonus. So if you do well, you will be given performance bonus. If your company does well, you will be given performance bonus. And the point of attractiveness is that in some multinational companies, the amount received by employees in terms of performance bonus sometimes higher than the amount they receive in terms of basic salary. So it is a good reason to get motivated to work in corporate sector or in companies or in private sector specifically, in which you can demonstrate your performance. You can be rewarded, or not you can be, you will be rewarded for demonstrating your superior performance. However, in public sector, it is very unlikely that you will be rewarded for your superior performance. In some cases, it is given, but very unlikely in general sense that if you have superior performance or if you demonstrate superior performance, it is not very likely that you will be given a performance bonus or performance allowance. It may be such that you will be given some facility, like you will have the opportunity to get some to get selected in some training. So for the public sector employees, sometimes training, getting opportunity to join a training or to have a training is much more beneficial in terms of monetary benefit compared to the knowledge benefit. So they always wait, the public sector employees, they always try to wait, or they tend to wait to get some opportunity to join a training. So it is not likely that they are waiting to have a training for increasing their knowledge or enriching their abilities, but for most of them, their main purpose is to have a monetary benefit by getting a training. So sometimes, as it is a competitive, as there are a greater number of people who want to get training or who want to get facility for training, compared to the number of people who can be given training in a limited facility. So what is the point here? The point here is that the performance bonus is one of the reasons to make you motivated, to make you encouraged to join in private sector. Okay, so the amount is huge, but in most of the cases, or if you ask me in general sense, how much equivalent or how much worth single bonus is, the answer is, in general sense, one bonus is equal to one basic. That means one bonus is, in general sense, equivalent to one basic salary. One basic salary means 1 month basic salary. Okay. So this person, Mr. Onil Ambani, our SSC, has received 3 bonuses in August, January, and May, respectively, in the income year in which you are calculating his taxable income. So you may ask, what is the reason that months are mentioned? The answer is that months are mentioned because months will be essential to pick, because the basic salary has changed, or basic salary changes, which will affect the monthly basic. As performance bonus is equivalent to basic, performance bonus will also be changed number. It will not remain constant with the number, or as the number which was our starting number, or which was our starting number for basic. Okay. So first of all, August, January. This August, January are in the period between, before the increment date of April 1. So you can easily identify that for August, January, the bonuses what was received by the bonuses what were received by the Mr. Onil Ambani was equivalent to 11,000 each. But May bonus, or bonus received in May, has been after the increment date. So in that case, bonus will be equivalent to the basic which was applicable after the increment date. So we need to write that bonus will be equivalent to 11,000, and one bonus will be equivalent to 12,000. In that case, we need to write that total bonus taxable is 34,000, regardless of your employer. Total amount of bonus is taxable. There is no kind of exemption. Have you got the calculation? For
Yes,
bonus?
sir.
Okay, thanks. Then he contributes 10% of his basic salary to a recognized provident fund, from which he has also received an interest of 1,500 at the rate of 15% interest. So from previous class, we have come to learn that what we do mean by the recognized provident fund. So In recognized provident fund, whether the information is given or not given, you need to immediately recognize that in recognized provident fund, in contributory provident fund, in unrecognized provident fund, both employer and employee contribute equally. So if Mr. Ambani contributes 10% of his basic salary to a recognized provident fund, and 10% of his basic is 13,500 of this 10%, you need to expect that Mr. Onil Ambani's employer is also contributing the same amount for Mr. Onil Ambani. So which contribution will appear here? Mr. Onil Ambani's contribution or Mr. Onil Ambani's employer's contribution?
Employer's contribution.
Because the contribution made by Mr. Onil Ambani is not Mr. Onil Ambani's income. Rather, it is his, you can say it is kind of his investment. Okay. But the amount he is receiving from employers in recognized provident fund, that is equivalent to his income. That's why we are adding that contribution here when we are calculating the income for Mr. Onil Ambani. Okay. So how much it is?
13,500.
10% of basic. That is 13,500. Okay. Now, if I ask you that if it was unrecognized provident fund, if it was unrecognized provident fund, in that case, would the calculation what we just have added come here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. If anyone among us does not know why they are saying no, you are requested to check your text and the lecture of previous class so that you can get the answer why the answer is no. Okay. Then his employer also contributes the same amount to the RPF. Now, if I remove this statement from here, by default, you need to assume that employer contributes the same amount if this information is not given, although, okay? So
Yes.
these are some kind of traps you may fall in your exam. But the thing is that for your career, you will get this kind of facilities from your employer, and you need to calculate in this way what we are just right now following. And additional issue, that is the interest on provident fund, that is 1,500. So interest on recognized provident fund, that is 1,500. So we know that there is a facility for tax exemption from interest on recognized provident fund in the way that 14.5% or which is the amount? What is the amount with which you will compare, make comparison? 14.5% of basic and another one. Can you recall? Can you recall interest on recognized provident fund? One number is 14.5% interest.
So 1/3 of basic.
Right. So first of all, what is the 14.5% of the accumulated balance on Provident Fund, based on which we can calculate the tax exemption amount. Okay. So we have been given the information that the interest amount which is given in the problem has been calculated or has been actually charged based on the 15%. So if I say that 1500 has been calculated based on 15%, and now if I divide this number by 0.15, can I get the 100% amount?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
So what shall be that amount?
So 10,000.
10,000. Now, if I apply 14.5% on this amount, I will get
1450.
1,450. This is one number which with which we will make comparison for tax exemption. 1,450. And another one is 1/3 of basic.
Basic.
So total basic is 135,000. So what is 1/3 of basic if the total is
45,000.
135,000?
45,000.
That amount will be 45,000. Okay, this is 45,000. Now, if you compare these two, obviously 1,450 is not the higher amount. It is the lower amount between these two, and we need to pick the lower number from these two. So in that case, how much will be taxable? 50 only.
50.
50 only. Okay. Okay. Then his employer. Okay. Let me ask you a follow-up question related to this. If the interest is earned from unrecognized provident fund, would this exemption be applicable?
No, sir.
In that case, the tax exemption what we just have calculated would not be applicable. So when you will be given the information, you need to check it twice, that is it recognized or unrecognized. Then he has been provided with a rent-free quarter and a car for both official and personal purpose. Okay. He has been provided with a rent-free quarter. Is it attractive for getting a job like Mr. Anil Ambani so that you will have a rent-free quarter?
Yes, sir.
It is attractive, and tax authority also knows that it is kind of attractive, but there is no escape from the tax authority. You need to convert this facility into monetary amount so that tax authority can charge some tax on the facility which you are enjoying. Okay. So first of all, we need to write the term in this way. Let me show you, or let me make it clear that what is the exact term in terms of income tax ordinance that what we are going to write right now. Okay. The exact term is like this: deemed income. It is not actually income, but why it is deemed income? Because we are converting a facility into income. That's why we are writing deemed income. deemed income for what? Rent-free, rent-free quarter. So I think you have not forgot that how we need to calculate it. It was 25% of basic or actual rental value. Which one is
Lower.
higher or lower? Lower.
Lower.
Okay. Okay. We have not given any information regarding the actual rental value. That's why we have no figure to make comparison. You don't need to assume any figure for a rental value or actual rental value to make the comparison. So just what you need to do, that is, you need to take the 25% of basic, 25% of basic, and take that amount as a final for deemed income for rent-free accommodation. So for 135,000, 25% amount will be
So 33,750.
750. Okay. Now, let's move on to the following information. He has been provided with a card for both official and personal purpose also. That is also another attractive facility. Okay. But if you are a private employer, private employee, you need to convert this facility in terms of income, taxable income more specifically. However, if you are a public sector employee, these facilities are tax exempted. Okay. That is another reason for getting motivated to have a job opportunity in public sector. Okay. But we are right now assuming for a private employee, we need to check that the card has been provided for what purposes. The purpose is important because based on the purpose, the tax treatment will be different. For example, if it would be given only for official purpose, no tax, but no taxable income would be required to calculate here. However, it is mentioned that it has been provided both for official and personal purpose. In that case, we need to convert this facility into deemed income. Deemed income for what? Deemed income for car facility, or you can write conveyance facility. So the rule is that 5% of basic or 60,000, which one is lower or higher?
So higher.
Higher. Okay. So let's take the 5% of the basic first. That is 135,000 multiplied by 5%. That amount will be 6,750, or the amount which is 60,000. This number you need to memorize for your exam purpose because this number has been given in tax ordinance. But after having your exam done, you can check this number from the guideline or any other source, reliable source for your own tax calculation. Okay. So which one is higher?
60,000.
60,000. Okay. Then he has been provided with car and quarter, rent-free quarter. Now, let's move on to the next point. During the year, he has also received an entertainment allowance of taka 13,375, of which taka 4,500 has actually been spent. So, Ishma Mohammed Opurbo, would you like to say something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, deemed income মানে এখানে কি বোঝায়?
Deemed income means when you are converting a facility, non-monetary facility, or you can say, can you recall the perquisite? We made discussion on perquisite, like membership of golf club or membership of the Dhaka club, or kind of facility here, rent-free quarter. It can be monetary, or it can be non-monetary, or it can be in-kind facility. Okay. But why we are writing deemed? Because it is not actually income, not in the income in a sense that actually it is part of facility. So by the concept of income, we actually try to mean something that is kind of received in terms of money, received in terms of cash flow. But here we are not receiving any cash flow or monetary money. Rather, we are receiving something which actually have some monetary value. So we are trying to convert those monetary we are trying to convert those facilities into monetary number. That's why we are trying to write those facility in terms of deemed income. Have you got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Deemed in a sense, it's we use the word it seems that, it appears that. Can you I'm very confident that you understand when we use this word. It
Yes,
seems
sir.
that, it appears that. In that sense, we are also using the term here, deemed. Okay.
Okay, sir.
স্যার
Yeah.
স্যার এটা কি ইনকাম এই সেন্সে যে পার্সোনাল যে কস্টগুলো সেটা রিডিউসড হয়ে যায় এরকম পার্কিউজিটির জন্য?
You can justify in that sense. You can justify in that sense. Okay.
জি স্যার।
Okay. Okay. Entertainment allowance. What is the rule for entertainment allowance?
So fully taxable. Fully taxable.
If it is given in
Cash. Resources.
Total of how much? 13,375. So for avoiding taxes, you will try to negotiate with your employer to give you free lunch, free tea, free coffee, free biscuit, not to provide you the cash allowance. Have you got a trick to avoid tax?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you may feel that it is not a big deal for you, or it is not a big number for you for calculating with respect to tax liability. But when you will become a top management employee, your marginal tax rate will become very high, like 25%, 30%. Okay. So in that case, you can easily understand that out of this entertainment allowance, how much will be taxable, or sorry, how much will be the tax liability. These are tax percentage of the high income people. Okay, if you look at the progressive or our tax slab, you will see that it starts from 0, then 5, then 10, and it finishes at 30%. Okay. So when you will have annual income like more than 15 lakh or 1.5 million, it is likely that you will touch this percentage, 25 or 30%. Okay. So these are some ways how people avoid taxes. Okay. Another way how people avoid taxes, that is to get the facility from the company in terms of in kind, like the employee does not receive house allowance, house rent allowance. Rather, employee pushes his employer to give him a rent-free quarter like this, or to give him car instead of providing him the conveyance allowance, or instead of providing him the telephone allowance, he can push the employer to provide him the facility of providing the facility that your, I mean, total bill, that means the telephone bill will be totally borne by your employer. Okay, instead of giving you the cash allowance. If any way, by any chance you receive cash allowance, it will increase your tax liability. So in most of the cases, big businessmen in our country, you will see that their monthly income is much lower compared to the expected amount by the people. People expect that this person should have monthly income of this amount or annual income of this amount. But when they submit their income tax return for the election purpose, you will see that their monthly income is a very small number. Their annual income is a very small number. So you may ask why. The answer is that they have made negotiation with their business enterprise in such a way that they receive all sorts of facilities in terms of in kind. They receive a car, they have the rent-free accommodation, they have the mobile phone bill borne by their company. Okay. In that sense, as they are not receiving the cash amount, their tax liability becomes lower. So when they have the tax liability lower, they can avoid taxes. Have you got the point?
Ji sir.
Have you recently learned that Donald Trump is one of the few people who paid a meager amount of taxes?
Yes, sir. $700 pay করছে।
Okay. So if you look at his income tax return, you will find he has used this kind of opportunities to avoid taxes. So avoiding taxes is not illegal or unethical. You are looking for the opportunities, or you are finding the loopholes of the tax laws to reduce the tax liability. Okay, so these are the ways. As you will learn more about taxes, more about tax laws, more about tax ordinance, you will try to get the opportunity to avoid taxes. But I never encourage you to use your tax learning to evade taxes, which is illegal and also unethical. Okay, so let's move on. He has also received an arrears salary of 30,000, which has not been taxed earlier. So what does it mean? That means in previous income year, he received some salary, but for some reason, we don't know what was the reason, he didn't show that income in computation of his taxable income from salary. So what you need to do, or what Mr. Ambani needs to do right now, he needs to simply add that area salary to his computation of current income from taxable income from salary in this period. Okay. So let's write that amount, area salary. How much? 30,000. He has also been given a travel allowance of Taka 10,000 during the year for official tour. Okay. So it is specifically mentioned that it is for official purpose. It is for official purpose. So in that case, it is exempted. If it is such that this allowance has been given to him for personal purpose, and there is additional information that it was not mentioned in his employment contract, in that case, total amount would be taxable or tax exempted.
Tax exempted.
Okay. So can you calculate the total income from salary? Income in here we are trying to mean that taxable income. Okay. So if you sum up all of these numbers, you'll get how much? 33,775. So now you need to check that how much tax liability has arose for Mr. Anil Ambani and how much tax liability he or she can reduce. Okay. First of all, we learned that for male, as Mr. Anil Ambani is a male, we are assuming that Mr. Anil Ambani is a male, as other information are supporting that Mr. Anil Ambani is a male. So we assume that Mr. Anil Ambani is a male. So for male, tax exempted is how much in our country? For first,
3 lakh.
300,000. Tax rate is 0%. Now, what is the next slab? Can you tell me? What is the next slab after 300,000?
Sir, next 1 lakh.
5% for next 1 lakh.
5%.
For next 100,000, tax rate is 5%. Okay, if I write in this way, is it possible that Mr. Anil Ambani's total income, assume that there is no other income for Mr. Anil Ambani, will this amount be covered within this two slab? This
Yes, sir.
amount?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
here we are covering 300,000. We need to cover 33,775 from the second slab. So here tax liability is 0. Here tax liability will be 8,000 or 4,000. How much?
So 1,688.
1,688.75.
88.75.
Okay. Okay. Now, from our previous class, we have learned that it is possible that reduce the tax liability by having facility from investment tax allowance. Okay. Uh, so let's look at the information provided, whether there is any information which provide information that it is possible for Mr. Anil Ambani to get some investment tax allowance. First of all, purchase of shares of listed company and partnership firm, Taka 2000 and Taka 5000 respectively. So I have this kind of similar case. I have some subscription to listed company share. I also have subscription to a partnership. So from our previous session, I think it is very clear already that it is not the investment from which you get tax exemption, partnership fund. Rather, if you have shares of listed company, you make investment in the income year, you can get the investment allowance. Okay, so how much that amount is? 2000. So have you got it? This is not an eligible amount. This is not an eligible amount. If you check the list, that sixth schedule of the income tax manual, or for your tax reference, you can follow from the ICAB text, or for a complete comprehensive list, I recommended to the list provided in 138 of Bangladesh income tax textbook. Okay, I'll show you. Probably I told about some items in previous session. Okay, that it is possible to get investment tax allowance by paying life insurance premium, by your provident fund contribution, by having investment in government securities, listed securities, these things. Okay, the list is so long. So for reducing your tax liability, it is essential for you to have a review of the list, which is available in page 138. It continues for several pages, so that you will get the learning that where it is possible to make investment and contribution for the purpose of getting tax rebate. Okay. Now, we have learned that it is not possible, it is not an eligible amount, partnership fund. Then second one, purchase of gold, 10,000. So purchase of gold is 10,000, but from the list, you will see that it is not also an eligible amount, that for purchasing gold, you will not get any investment tax rebate. Payment of his life insurance premium, I just have mentioned that for payment of life insurance premium, you will get tax exemption facility. Okay, but how much amount he has paid for life insurance premium? The amount is 4,000. So you need to cross-check an additional information because it is mentioned that for investment tax rebate, life insurance premium, how much life insurance premium can be included in this eligible amount? The answer is that maximum 10% of the policy value. So you need to look at that, how much is policy value? How much is policy value?
35,000.
35,000. So what is the 10% of 35,000? 3,500. 500. So Mr. Anil Ambani has paid how much? 4,000. Can we write 4,000 here? as a life insurance premium?
Yes, sir.
We can't write
Why, sir?
because it exceeds 10% of the policy value.
Oh.
Right?
3,500.
So how much we can write?
3,500. 3,500.
Okay. Okay, so you have got it. Now, purchase of books and magazine. This is not an eligible amount, right?
Yes, sir.
Contribution to a deposit pension scheme, taka 500 on a monthly basis. So how much is annual if 500 is paid monthly?
So 6,000.
6,000. So you need to keep it in your mind. The rule is that contribution in DPS cannot exceed 60,000 in a year. For tax investment tax rebate purpose, maximum 60,000 taka contribution to DPS is allowed. Any amount beyond this is not allowed. So we see the contribution made by Mr. Ambani is 6,000. So how much we can write? 6,000. If it was such that Mr. Ambani made contribution of 106,000 in DPS, how much amount we would write for Mr. Ambani here?
60,000.
Okay. In online class, you all have equal access to my class. So I think I am listening to the voice of very few people. So I request other people to participate so that I can understand that you are also getting. Okay. So don't feel shy here and don't feel hesitated to participate or to raise your question. Okay. So I think people who are participating, of course, it is appreciable, but sometimes you will try to give opportunity to your mates who are not responding to respond them, or to have opportunity to respond in class or to participate in class. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. Donation to the Baitul Mokaram Mosque. Taka 10,000. You can ask me, as Baitul Mokaram Mosque is a government mosque, government operated mosque. Is it an eligible amount for investment tax allowance? The answer is no. For in the list, you will not see any rule which tells that donation to Baitul Mokaram Mosque is eligible for getting investment tax allowance. Okay. So it is not an eligible amount. And another thing I like to note that related to this, Muslims are very likely to contribute zakat every year as their religious responsibility. So for zakat contribution, investment tax allowance is available, given that you don't pay zakat personally. Rather, you need to pay or contribute zakat through government zakat fund, so that you will have the opportunity of getting investment tax allowance. Otherwise, you will not get. Okay. Okay. So we need to add another amount from here. Employers and employee contribution to recognized provident fund. Okay. employers and employees' contribution to recognized provident fund is also an eligible amount to get the investment tax allowance. So let's calculate it. How much contribution employer was making?
$13,500.
13,500. Okay. 13,500. Okay. The total amount contributed by both employer and employee is twice of 13,500.
27,000.
Twice of 13,500. Why twice? Both employer and employee's contribution to recognized provident fund is eligible. But if it was unrecognized provident fund, it would not be eligible here. Okay. So if you sum up all of this number, you will get how much? 38,500. 38,500. Okay. So it is your total eligible amount. Try to pay much concentration right now because it is the calculation every taxpayer is looking for, because it is the opportunity to reduce the tax liability. So first of all, we have learned that how to calculate the eligible amount. So let's write the eligible amount first. $38,500. Now you have to compare this number with other number. So you can ask me what are those numbers or what is the rule. Okay. Let me show you from the guideline. The rule has been simplified. Okay. Investment tax rebate. You see, 43. You see some items here for getting investment tax rebate. For example, we have found this. We have found another one. You see, it is not the complete list. There is a more than 1,000 items. Okay, it is just selected items. Okay. So first of all, how much? Which one I just have calculated? That is this calculation. Eligible amount for not eligible amount, total eligible amount. Okay. So that was 38,500. Now, second one is important. Second one, let me show you the calculation first so that you can understand it side by side. Can you tell me what was our total amount for total taxable income for our SSC?
So 3,33,775.
Okay. We just have included salary income here. But when salary income will be given, interest income will be given, capital income, then income from business, income from profession, income from other sources will be given, you will have the total income from all available sources for your SSC or you as an SSC. Okay. So in sum of income, which you have included for calculating your total income, in for sum of income, you have some income for which the reduced tax rate is applicable. Remember, we have not included any amount here which is tax exempted. But it is possible that there are some items here on which a reduced tax rate is applicable. So you can ask me, is there any example? The answer is yes. For many of your family have received interest income from the savings certificate. Is it? Is it some of your families receive interest income from savings certificate?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. For savings certificate, 5% TDS is applicable. And the rule is that it is mentioned that this 5% TDS, which is already deducted when interest was paid to the bank account, this 5% TDS for savings certificate is the final tax liability. What does it mean? That means if you receive, for example, 100,000 interest income from your investment in savings certificate, and you already have paid, for example, 5%, that means 5,000 tax in terms of TDS. That means you have not paid, it was deducted when the interest was paid. That means you actually will receive 95,000 out of this 100,000. But you are saying that 100,000 is due, but how much will be paid to you? 95,000, because 5% TDS is applicable. Okay, so it is said that for this income from savings certificate, 5% TDS is the final tax liability. But when you will calculate your tax liability, you will see that you will need to face 0%, 5%. 0% is not the tax rate. 10%, 15%. You need to face this kind of rate when you calculate your tax liability, right?
Yes, sir.
But for savings certificate income, it is said that 5% TDS is applicable, and that is the final tax liability. Is it not such income, which is the interest income from savings certificate? Is it not that kind of income on which reduced tax rate is applicable?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, you need to exclude those income from the total income, total taxable income on which a reduced tax rate is applicable. On which reduced or no tax is applicable. For example, if it is such that, I think you already have got the point. I just have concluded. I am just giving you an additional case. If it is such that this total income, what you just have calculated, if it is such that some income you have added with this, which are tax exempted. Okay. For example, you receive concessional passage with your as per your employment contract. So you know it very well that it is tax exempted. But if it is such that you have included that amount here, in that case, your total income, what you have calculated, includes some amount which is tax exempted or on which a reduced tax rate is applicable. Now, what you need to do, you need to identify this income, and you need to exclude this amount from this amount. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
If it is such that 100,000 has been added to here, on which tax exempted, which is tax exempted, or is such that reduced tax rate is applicable on that 100,000. How much you need to exclude here?
100,000.
100,000. Now, just read this and tell me whether you have got it. Okay. So I think you have got the rule. Now you have got the net amount. After excluding this, you need to take 25% of that amount, that net amount. Got it?
Yes.
So as we have seen that no income of Mr. Ambani is here on which reduced tax rate or tax exemption is applicable. In that case, what will be the net amount for Mr. Ambani? This amount, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you take 25% of this, how much will be? 83,444.
443.7.
Okay. Now we have got one number, one. You see one. Then it is two. And which one is three?
1,50,50,000,000 লক্ষ।
So if you ask me from where 1.5 crore has appeared, the answer is I don't know. Okay. This number has been selected by the income tax authority based on their preference, based on their own analysis. So among these three, which one you should take?
সবচেয়ে কমটা।
First one.
Eligible amount
The
38,500.
lowest. Have you got it? Now tell me, for Mr. Ambani, which one I should take? This
Eligible
one,
amount
this one, or this one?
The first one, sir.
38,500.
Okay, 38,500. Remember, this is not the tax rebate amount. This is the eligible amount for getting tax rebate. Got it?
জি স্যার।
Yes, other calculation. So tax rule is not so easy. 38,500. Now, there are 3 slabs in previous year, but now it has been reduced to 2 slabs to increase the tax revenue, to reduce the investment tax rebate amount. Okay. First of all, for the first 15 lakh, how much rebate you will get? 15%. For remaining 15 lakh, you will get 10%. So can you tell me for this 38,500, how much will be applicable? Is it covered within the first 15 lakh?
जी sir.
So if I multiply 15% on this amount, I will get how much?
5,775.
5,775. Got it? So can you recall how much tax liability we calculated for Mr. Ambani?
So 1,689.
1,689. We calculated 1,689. Remember, this is the gross tax liability. Gross tax liability. Investment tax rebate. 5,775. I need to reduce this amount. How much now? How much?
4,086.
4,086. So this should be the net tax liability for Mr. Ambani. Okay. But the thing is that for Dhaka, North, South, and Chittagong City Corporation, now Chattogram City Corporation, the minimum tax cannot be less than 5,000. Minimum tax cannot be less than how much?
5,000.
5,000. So how much Mr. Ambani should pay now? Net tax liability 4,000 something or 5,000 something? 5,000, not 5,000 something. Okay. You see, in which city corporation Mr. Ambani lives? You see,
Dhaka City Corporation.
Dhaka City Corporation. Okay. So let me show you the reference. This is the, okay. Okay, this is here. You see?
जी sir.
So this is how we need to calculate the taxable income from salary, tax liability. In previous session, I tried to show you how I calculated my income tax liability in this assessment year and previous income year. And I also showed you the investment tax allowance I calculated for myself. You need to collect you need to download the schedule 24D. Remember, what is the title of the schedule?
24D.
Schedule 24D. For what purpose? For claiming investment tax credit. Okay. Unless you provide this kind of information, and you need to provide the supporting information, supporting attachment, supporting document for each and every one. Okay. So these are my all of these are my eligible amount for which I get the eligible amount for rebate. How much? Remember, this is my total eligible and not eligible, total allowable. Total allowable is how much for me? 159,570. So this is the number one which we just have calculated. Compare it Mr. Ambani's calculation. Okay. In my case, 25% of the total income, excluding any income for which you just have read this in Bangla. Okay, this is now in English. Okay, you may ask me where this is mentioned regarding the 5% TDS applicable for saving certificate is the final tax liability. The reference is here, subsection 2 of section 82C, of which one? Income tax ordinance. Okay, if you go to income tax ordinance 82, okay, 82C, 82, yeah, 82C. This is the section, and subsection 2, subsection 2. Okay. Any tax deducted or collected at source under the provision of section maintained in clause B shall be the minimum tax on income from the source or sources for which tax has been deducted or collected. It is mentioned somewhere here that it is about the final tax liability. I need so you need to find in this way. For the time constant, I am not going for specifically finding this, but this is available there. Okay, and 1.5 crore. This is 14C. So among these three numbers, which one is the lowest? 159,570. So what I have done, I have taken 15%. Okay, I have taken first the eligible amount. Which one should be my eligible? 159,570. And I have taken the 15% of 159,570. I get this number, 23,936. So that what I have been able to do, I have been able to reduce my tax liability by how much? By 23,936. Is this number attractive to avoid for tax purposes? 23,936. You see, it is my income tax return. I had the gross tax in this year of how much? More than 100,000, 102,552. How much rebate I have been able to enjoy? 23,936. So net tax after tax rebate has become 78,616. But based on my previous tax payment and the tax deducted at source, I have seen that I have paid 98,700 amount. But how much I need to pay? 78,616. So the excess amount what I have paid will be known as refundable. Have you got it? This is the way you need to calculate your taxable income from salary and investment tax allowance and tax liability we have seen today. And let me show you an example of that, what kind of document I have attached for getting the investment tax allowance. For example, tax certificate from this mutual fund. I have added this. I have attached this. For what purpose? Otherwise, my investment tax claim would not be entertained. Okay. For example, this kind of certificate will be available if you request your mutual fund or if you request your investment through which you are making investment, or your brokerage house will give you this kind of a statement where it is mentioned that, for example, in my case, it is mentioned that I have made investment. You see, it must be new investment. In which period? During the income year. Yeah. How much investment I have made in this period? Only 2,542. Okay. So you can ask me, what about other? For example, Provident Fund. I claim investment tax rebate for Provident Fund. So how can you show the evidence? The answer is that from your employer, you will get salary certificate where employer will mention all salary, all deductions which have been made throughout the income year. So that will support the evidence that you have contributed something for tax purpose. Okay. So we will spend our remaining time for understanding how CSR is included for tax purposes. So it is very likely that you have experienced that a good number of companies, good number of business enterprise make contribution in public universities. Okay, and you also see that in the road divider there are good number of large number of trees are planted by companies, and you also see that scholarships are made by bank companies, and you also see the advertisement in newspaper or the televisions that banking companies are providing the winter cloth and winter blanket to the poor people and to the helpless people. And the season which is right now coming to us, it will be one of the busiest seasons for the corporate staffs to make their CSR expenditure. So what they do, they visit to the poor people at late night, say 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and they look for the people who are helpless in this winter night, who don't have the winter blanket, and they provide them with the winter blanket, winter clothing, these things. And you also see, for example, in our university, our some sculpture, some buildings, some gardens are some gardens are sponsored by some well-known companies. In our university, right now, ACI is making a good amount of contribution. For example, our library, our e-library has been sponsored by Robi. Okay. So you may ask why they are spending millions and millions of taka expenditure for these purposes. From the profit perspective, it should not be. It must reduce the value for the shareholders. It must reduce the value for the profit for the company. Okay. So the answer is that the thing is not such that what we do think. Okay. These expenses are made by companies and business enterprises, not only for expenses, but also for having tax facility, having tax rebate facility for CSR expenditure. Okay. They will never mention why we are doing this. We are doing this for getting tax rebate. Rather, they will mention the reason why you are doing this, because you are so kind to you. Have you got it?
Ji sir.
So in during the time of natural calamities, it is very likely that you see the bankers contribute a million amount to the Prime Minister Fund, Relief Fund. for helping the poor people, for helping the flood affected people, or for helping the people who are in the prey of nature. Okay. So I already have mentioned several examples, and let me just add one example. You probably have seen that number of hospitals are growing around you. So if it is such that, there are some specific list which you will find in the page 142, which has been extracted from the income tax ordinance and several SROs. Okay. In Bangladesh income tax, page number 142, you will get a list. I don't think it is a comprehensive list, but you will see a good number of items for which CSR expenditure is allowed. Okay. It is not very likely that you will see that Dutch Bangla Bank is selecting a good number of students from private universities or very well-known private universities to give them a scholarship. Okay. In opposite side, you will see that Dutch Bangla or the Prime Bank who are providing scholarships to the meritorious or but financially challenged people. The scholarships are mostly for the public universities. So in that case, it is allowable. Otherwise, it is not allowable. Okay. And the thing is that you need to make expenditure as a company in those specific sectors only to get the tax rebate for CSR expenditure. Otherwise, you will not get CSR expenditure, tax rebate for that CSR expenditure. Okay. So you need to recognize that how tax rebate is calculated for CSR expenditure. First of all, it is mentioned that in how much will be maximum amount for CSR expenditure. There is a ceiling. There is a ceiling that how much will be maximum, not floor. There is a ceiling that how much your maximum CSR expenditure will be for tax rebate purposes. The answer is that out of your total income, income means here not total income. Remember, we are not dealing with the personal income right now. We are dealing with the income of business. So for business, we know for tax purposes, we take which income? Is it? We take
Yes,
this
sir.
income?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I meant referring this income. So in this income, you need to recognize that out of this income, 20% or 12 crore, 20% or 12 crore, which one is lower, will be the ceiling for maximum CSR expenditure. Have you got it?
জি স্যার
স্যার এটা কেমন মানে ইয়ার ওয়াইজ নাকি এরকম?
Every year separate for each income year. Okay, let me show you a calculation very quickly. Okay, for example, I'm taking the example from your text, page 143. X Limited is a private company that company has made 1 crore total expenditure in the name of CSR. And this company has also net income of 10 crore, assuming that it is taxable income. But there are some adjustment. I'm coming to this shortly. Okay, their corporate tax rate is 35%. Now, what you need to do, the rule is that if you want to get tax exemption for having the CSR expenditure, you can't show CSR expenditure as expenditure to calculate your net income. What does it mean? It means that your taxable income cannot be such that which is adjusted for expenditure for CSR. So this net income has been calculated by subtracting expenditure, also subtracting expenditure for CSR. So according to rule, you need to subtract, you need to add back this expenditure. So in that case, what will be adjusted net income now? Have you got it? For getting the tax advantage, you can't subtract the CSR expenditure to calculate your net income. To get the tax facility, you need to have a net income which has not been calculated by subtracting the CSR expenditure. Have you got it?
Ji sir.
Okay. Now, if you calculate the tax liability by 35%, how much will be tax liability on 11 crore? It will be 3.85
85.
crore. And if you take the 20% of this 11 crore, 20% of this 11 crore, how much will be this amount?
2.2 crore.
2.2 crore. Now you have to compare this 2.2 crore with which number? 12 crore. I already have written here, right? Okay. Between 12 crore and 2.2 crore, which one is lower?
2.2.
2.2 crore is lower. 2.2 crore is lower. Okay. So in this case, 2.2 crore is your eligible amount. But how much expenditure you have really incurred?
1 crore.
That means the amount what you have really spent is within the ceiling applicable for you. What we have done here, we have checked the ceiling here. If it is such that the company made expenditure of 3 crore, in that case, what would be the amount we take for the final 2.2? But here the company made expenditure of how much? 1 crore. So in this case, we will take 1 crore or 2.2 crore.
1 crore.
We will take 1 crore. Okay. So on this 1 crore, you will get 10% rebate on your eligible CSR expenditure. You will get how much tax rebate?
10%.
10%. Now 1 crore multiplied by 10%, how much?
10 lakh.
10.
Right to 0.
Yeah. Okay, fine. 1 million. Now you see, what was your tax liability? at 35% rate on 11 crore income?
3.85 crore.
0.85.
3.85 crore. Now, if you can subtract this 1 million from this 3.85 crore, how much will be your net tax after getting tax rebate?
3.75.
Have you got the purpose of getting a scholarship from the companies, banking companies?
Sir.
This is the way, this is a very simple calculation, and this is the way how they can reduce their tax liability by making expenditure in the selected fields where it is possible to reduce the tax liability. Have you got it? Have you got the purpose why Grameenphone is providing internet at a very concessional rate to us?
Ji sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think you have got our today's learning outcome. So I think we need to finish here. So let me finish the recording. Then I'm